This week we're going to be reviewing the IXL Math App. And this is a fantastic app that you can use as an individual at home. Your child can use this at home all the way from junior kindergarten through to grade 12. And it's an app designed to support mathematics. However, it's more than just numbers. There's many ways to engage learners throughout this app. My son actually has this app, has his teacher at his school has created an account for my son. And schools and school boards have also adopted this app as a learning tool to be utilized in the classroom and to extend the learning outside of the classroom and into the home. So my son is in senior kindergarten, and my daughter now, who is just turning 3, absolutely loves this game. So she says, Daddy, let's get on the app and we'll do the math app. We're going to do IXL. So I find the engagement level quite high. Again, because how the content is delivered to students is quite interesting. It's gamified, it's real world scenarios, also just through the whole technology of an iPad or a laptop. Students generally, not all, but a lot of students find that engaging. The tracking of your score, etc. This is a free app to download. However, if your school or school board does not provide you with a login, there is a subscription price for long-term use. Once again, there's age and appropriate levels all the way from junior kindergarten right through grade 12. So let's just jump in a little bit just to take a look at how this app works. Again, there's practice areas, so you can go through all of the different content. So if you're looking at JK, well, let's just go into S kindergarten where my son is. You can see they've categorized all the different types of learning. So counting up to 3, up to 5, up to 10, etc. They go through skip counting, patterns, addition and subtraction. They look at time, sorting, data and graphs, probability, measurement, and money. So lots of options here and lots of ways to sort of engage learners into mathematics. And also they look at recommendations. So depending on what you have or have not done, they can also recommended learning. And I know teachers use this as a diagnostic, and really when students go through the categories, depending on how well they do, depending on what questions they get right or wrong, this gives the analytics and the data back to the teacher, which really helps sort of pinpoint areas of need that teachers may need to sort of focus on in terms of their development. I'm going to go through just a few simple things just to sort of show you how it works. And there is a real progression to the learning as well, which is very interesting. So you can start really simply. If you go learn to count in B1, again, this works in portrait or landscape mode. There is text to speech. So for example, it says count the snowflakes, click each snowflake to keep track as you count. Or if the learner wanted the text to speech,
count the snowflakes, click each snowflake to keep track as you count.
So, I mean, it's not the best audio, but it's there. Again, there's a progression here. So again, the child would come up and touch the snowflake. So 1, it's giving them a visual of the number 1. The color is also changed, so you can see that you've touched it. 1, 2, 3. So they've touched all 3. Once you've touched it, you can't touch it again. And then you says, how many snowflakes are there? And then they go through 1, 2, 3, and they touch the number, boom, and they hit submit. So it gives you that prompt there. Very similar again, count the ice cream cones, touch it, 1, answer, submit. So that's great. But as you work through it, through the number of counting, and you go to, for example, count to 5 on the next level, how many lines are there? Now I'm touching the line, you can't see it, but I'm actually trying to touch the line and nothing happens. So there's a progression there. So now the child they can still touch it if they want, but it doesn't change color, it doesn't give them the prompt of the number, but they just go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and they touch 4 and submit. So you can see there is progressions there, there's feedback. The counting, the scoring along the top, you can see the scoring, the progression there. So I think that helps in terms of the engagement. the colorful graphics, etc. I find that the children that at the younger ages especially find interesting. As children progress through the different categories, they can earn awards. So again, more incentives are available to them. It is a very clean and uncluttered screen, and so forth. The smart squirrel on the top. So if we go through here, we're going to do, I don't know, let's just do this one here, one more, up to 10. So again, count the rubber ducks. So I'm going to
Count the rubber ducks.
Text to speech. So I'm touching them, nothing happens. So I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would count them with my child, or the child will do it on their own. And then the question is, which group has one more? So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they might go through and count them. And then you try to provide the concept of one more than 4, not one less. So I'm going to submit here. I'm going to highlight my answer, hit submit. And you can see along the top, we mentioned it earlier, but there's a smart score. So you can see how that's growing as they progress through the topic. So count the crayons, which group has one more, submit. Oh, I got that one wrong. Count the crayons, 1, 2, 3. There are 3 crayons. The number just after 3 is one more. Count to find one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they give you feedback. So if you get a question if your answer is incorrect, it does give you the feedback, which is also great. So they give you very detailed feedback. So the explanation again is handy, especially if the student or child is doing this independently without a teacher or a parent. So to help them with that. So we progress through, we move into some of the higher grades. Again, it's all set up very similar. You can see the numbers and all the different topics, subtraction, multiplication, etc. But I just wanted to show you another function that is very helpful. So we're going to click on here. So is 53 even or odd? Okay, so that's, what does that mean, even or odd? So you may have to go through that. Hopefully you understand that. But in the bottom right corner, that little pencil, so they also, this is at every grade level, they give you an opportunity to use your own notes. So if you, for example, you can change the color. I'm going to go with the black pencil. So you may say, okay, what are even or odd numbers? So you could say, okay, let me think about this. So if I'm going to, from 1 to 10, how many numbers are odd? So I'm going to go 1, and then you explain them. What's the next odd? Is it 2 or 3? You go 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so which ones are the even numbers? Okay, we go through that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. So you have other functions here. As an eraser, I can erase that if I would like. And there's a highlighter as well if you want to highlight. So again, this is an opportunity for students to work through a problem, which I think is helpful. If I haven't gotten to this point, but I would definitely, if I was using the notes area and I worked through a problem, I would, I don't know. The only thing is you cannot save that work. So I think once you submit your answer, that's gone. So it was 853 odd or even. I'm going to say odd. Oops. Touch on odd. Correct. And it's gone. So if you're, for example, you're working through higher level math, if you're in the senior grades in high school and you're doing some calculus or grade 12 work, you might want to screenshot that, which is another option to sort of save your work, especially if you're working with a teacher or a tutor or another student who's explaining it and they're working through the notes, etc. I think that would be a smart idea to save that notepad. Like I said, this is a great app both for classroom and for home environment. Definitely teachers will get feedback from the students' work, which is great. I'll close out of that. And just some of the skills that really focus on. If you look at sort of the progressions again from junior kindergarten through to grade 12, you can really see in junior kindergarten, very just simple counting up to 5. Talking about weight, shapes, they're looking at shapes and so forth. So we'll go into sort of the JK, counting to 3, 5, 10, 20. So all that progression there. comparing sort of sizes, mixed groups, more versus less, pattern, size, money, and shapes. Okay, so you're looking at different types of shapes, circles, triangles, etc. So let's try one of these. Name the shape. So what is this shape? Circle or square? So my little one loves this stuff. She's almost 3, and she's just every night, Daddy, Daddy. No, it's a treat. So once in a while, let's do the math on the app. Let's do the math. Okay, so she loves it. So they love even the feedback of the noise, right? The colors, I think, are engaging. She doesn't use the text to speech, but she likes seeing the different animals and shapes. So sort of the idea of that somewhat real world, the connection that the children enjoy. What shape is this? Rectangle, etc. So you can see it. I'm not going to attempt the senior math because it's been a long time since I worked through these, but let's just take a look at sort of some grade 12 idea here. So we're looking at some functions, quadratic relations. I would not be able to sort of demonstrate this, unfortunately. At one point I went through calculus, but that's been a long time ago. But it's all there, right? So it's great. You have your trigonometry. I work in a high school, secondary high school. I've recommended this app to students who, along with other sort of math supports online. I think it would be great. At our school, the secondary, we don't have an account, but I'm also in the TDSB, so I'm curious. I should really look into that and see if it's a full TDSB license or is it by school license. I'll have to look into that. I think that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the Tech Talk. It's definitely an app it's worth looking at, supporting the learning of numeracy. And I think, any way you can get kids and students engaged in learning math in a non-threatening way, the younger, the better. And I think it's important to supplement the learning happening in the classroom at home. So obviously homework will come home, but maybe it's presented in a little bit different manner, etc. And I think that's worthwhile. And I think as an assistive technology, utilizing technology, mobile platforms, phones, iPads, etc., that are quite readily available now in homes. Kids already want to be on these devices. So if you can try to balance, what they're doing on those devices with something that's productive. I had my little ones at the grandparents, and grandpa was going through this app with my son, and it was a nice bonding experience for them because it was enjoyable and they liked it. So for them, it was a good experience. I think having more positive educational type apps that the kids enjoy, I think the more the better. And